Welcome back to the AOT Chronicles. I'm one of your hosts, Ronnie.
I'm Chaz.
This is an Attack on Titan podcast. We're here covering Season 2, Episode 6, also Episode 31, Warrior. This is, every now and then we come across those episodes where we like to say this just changes things in a completely different way, and I would say this is one of those episodes.
This is the episode of Season 2 for me.
Yep.
The episode.
Let's dive into it, and we got a lot of conversations to have.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. So we're going to start atop Wall Rose on what appears to be a rainy evening. Eren somehow got to be like one of the first ones up the wall. Don't know how he swung that. But alas, he watches Ymir slowly being lifted up on a stretcher. And he asks somebody about how she's doing.
Oh, she's doing great.
And the man kindly informs him that she had a couple limbs bitten off and her insides are like scrambled eggs.
I love that saying.
Which, yum. Could your mom make us some eggs? She's just sitting there.
Mom. Nah, she can't hear. She's fine. Just let her.
I just feel like you don't want to ask. I don't feel like you...
Well, I mean, her nose is in the corner. I told her to shut up and stay in timeout, so let's just let it be.
All right. He goes on to say that these injuries would leave a normal person dead. And, Eren has to kind of think to himself, a normal person would... He's dealing with some Titan racism here.
Yeah.
Reiner appears at the top of the wall, and remember, he's still injured from where that one Titan gnawed on his arm for a good 30 seconds before anyone helped him out. But Eren's going to help him out here. He gets him back up on the wall because Reiner's kind of struggling getting to the top.
I think that's kind of funny how no one was helping him. He's got one arm, and Eren has to run over, and no one else is helping him.
Krista/Astoria is trying to vouch for Ymir to Hanji, and like I said kind of last episode, we're dealing with a rough breakup. I'm sorry if I rip Historia this episode. I want it to be known that overall I do like her, but just going through some tough times, and she pretty much pisses me off every time she talks for the time being.
Well, you liked Krista, I like Historia, so I get to have her now is how that goes. But keep going.
All right. She's insisting that Ymir is not a threat to humanity despite keeping her Titan powers hidden for so long. She also goes on to say that Ymir is a changed person, literally, because she changed into a Titan. Get it? Chad, you with me?
I'm with you.
Stay with me. No, she's claiming that she's changed for the better and that she is an ally to humanity,
she did just help them. She just fought off 30 Titans.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of assumptions, Krista. I mean, she did, but it was for Krista. I don't think she gave it to him about anyone else. She's just got a hard-on for Krista, and so that's why
she exactly. Did. If Krista wasn't on that tower, would she have done that?
No. Not horrible. I think she hates everyone.
Well, Historia, sorry.
Then, this stupid little girl, also known as Historia, I can't believe I was actually going to take her home to my mother. She tries to claim that she knows Ymir better than anybody. I mean, she didn't know that she was... Basically, if it wasn't for the whole Titan thing, there wasn't anything else to know about her. Krista knew all of it, so now she knows everything. Pretty big thing not to know. I'm calling BS. Ymir literally didn't even know Krista's real name. How could Krista know that? God. Hanji, though, she's chill. She's open to being cool with Ymir because you know how she feels about Titans, just as a whole. She wants to give him any chance she can. She knows that Ymir's knowledge of the Titans will be super important down the line, which is smart thinking. It'd be easy to overreact. That's why we like the Scouts so much. If this has happened near Captain Worryman, can you imagine the cannonballs that would be launched?
He would have already shot off at least 7 fixed cannons at him.
Hanji, this squad, cool, calm, collected. They're like, oh, we got Titans just, hiding among us. That's fine. We're going to be cool with them.
Yeah, I'm so glad none of the garrison knows about this.
So Hanji goes on to ask if Historia is indeed from the Rice family, as she claims. I wouldn't say I missed this stuff, but I don't know if it's sank in hard enough through first watch, so I want to take our time with it. I mean, obviously there was the last episode, which I said was kind of snoozy, so it might not have... It's just confusing because they start building up these rices to be royalty when... Were they even really mentioned in season 1?
It was barely mentioned. It was just like they mostly just said noble families. They wouldn't really come out and say the actual names.
Because season 1, it was kind of funny. Like the first, it was like the second episode, I think. They show pixies with like the king or what. And so when they first started talking about the rices, I was like, okay, is that guy? But I don't think it is, right?
No, it is not. I mean, there's like a couple noble families, and I think the rice is like the most noble of all.
But then there's a king too.
The king is supposed to be a rice.
But was he?
Well, the person that Pixies was with wasn't actually the king. It was like he was just like a high up noble person.
Okay. See, that's why I want to take my time with it. Honestly, I don't feel like they do a very good job of explaining necessarily the royalty hierarchy, if you will. We kind of just see everything on a more neutral level as far as the scouts and the garrison, which means that it's hard to truly know how big of a deal it is that Krista is actually royalty until we get a little bit further, but no spoilers here. Just anytime they talk about it, it might seem a little boring, but try and pay attention because it feels like it's going to be.
And I feel like too at this point, all we really know is like the royal families and stuff. They get to be in the most inner walls, and like no one really makes contact with them. Right. That's all we really know.
So they walk over to 2 soldiers who are watching over Ymir, and one of them informs that Ymir is in a coma, but steam is escaping her wounds, which, obviously leads us to believe that she's healing herself. Hanji orders for Ymir to be sent to Tross for proper medical care while they continue to try and seal Wall Rose. We cut over to Reiner, who is really trying to make Eren feel bad for him because of his injury, but I think Eren is too stupid to pick up on that. He's just doing a whole lot of... Ugh. Ouch. Oh, this is the second time,
Twice I've almost died now.
In the middle of all this, Armin zips up to the top of the wall, and Reiner says, right, Armin? Hey, Armin, you know what I mean? Ugh, ouch, second time. And Armin says, what? And Reiner says, yeah, you remember when I was nearly killed by that one Titan with a nice ass because she squeezed her hand with me inside of it, but then all of a sudden I got out, it was okay. Remember that? Remember how I almost died there that time? Ugh, ouch. Reiner goes on to say that he's worried that he's going to be dead at this rate, stating that soldiers' spirits wear down before their body. That's deep. I think somewhere Bert was like, wow, that's deep.
But he definitely did not say it.
He didn't say it out loud. He was just somewhere thinking it. Eren seems a bit uncomfortable. I don't really know how much he cares about other people. I think the only thing he's thinking about is how he wants to kill all the Titans, and this is like one of the first meaningful conversations he had with one of his fellow soldiers, so he just wants to try and get out of it. He did it with Annie, and so now he hits Reiner and Bert with a, oh yeah, you guys have been away from your hometown for way too long, huh? It's just, hey, great talk, Eren.
It's like he gets all nervous, doesn't know what to say, so he just spews that out.
It's like thinking back, he's like, okay, Reiner, Bert, what do I know about Reiner and Bert? There was that one time we taught, oh yeah, you guys been that hometown, right? That's kind of your story. What, been away from that for a long time, huh?
Few years, right, guys?
Which makes Reiner take pause, and he stares into a puddle because, I don't know if you know this, there's just no place like home. And he starts thinking of it.
And that's where we get into Chaz's quote of the day.
Wow. All right.
There's no place like home. I haven't really heard that before, and it just really inspires me. And that's it. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Did he actually say there's no place like home? Because I had figured, I think I was doing a thing there.
He didn't say that?
I think you just got wrecked.
Oh.
Did you even watch this episode, or are you just relying on my well-detailed notes to carry you along?
This is Yeah, I actually don't have any notes over that. I kind of just figured that's what he said. So.
Well, I think you really nailed that segment. Good work.
Okay.
Bert breaks the awkward silence, which is funny because up to this point, his whole character is just one giant awkward silence. He weirdly becomes extremely enthusiastic, encouraging Reiner that they should return to their hometown soon. Like, as if they don't have very important jobs. Yeah. Reiner's on board, too. They're just like, you know what? Yeah, we're going.
We need to find out where the hole is. We got to seal wall rows. There's Titans everywhere. Hey, but Reiner, let's just go home.
Dude, you know what? Let's do it. Aaron and Armin are very confused by what is going on here. Armin's kind of like, wait, don't these guys know what we signed up for? And like, well, we can't just walk away.
I love Aaron's reaction to this. He's like, huh? He's like, what?
Somewhere out there, Captain Worryman is threatening to slice down any deserters, and he might not do it, but I'd be careful about taking your chance. Think long and hard about it before you do. I mean, Aaron, on the other hand, is just thinking, wait, you guys aren't going to help kill all the Titans? What are we doing here? We slide over to another conversation as Connie joins the others atop the wall to inform Mikasa and Sasha of the situation with Reiner and Ymir. Hanji strolls up to let them know that Ymir is doing just fine, and you know what? We're just going to worry about her later. She's doing, like I said, just fine.
Her insides are like scrambled eggs, but she's fine.
She also tells Connie that a team of scouts will be sent to investigate Connie's village once they figure out this wall situation. Then I smile because a smile is put upon my face as old Captain Hannes rides up looking as handsome and possibly drunk as ever.
Love this guy.
Hanji is excited that the Garrison Advance Squad has arrived with the news of the hole in the wall. You know what? We don't even have to worry about it. Let's go ahead and send out those people to Connie's village because Hannes is here to tell us what's going on. That is until Hannes meets up with him at the top and says, by God, we cannot find a hole in this wall. I would like to point out, just for a moment here, as I saw Hannes get to the top of this wall, this great nation that brought us useless cannons also made pulley lifts that don't lift people high enough to the wall without them having to essentially lift the entire weight of their body up to the edge of the wall. What's going on with that?
That's a good question. I didn't really think about that until you just said it, and you would think it would be easy just to add like a couple more feet of a levee.
So you could just like roll off of it onto the wall. Every single person that comes up this wall, it takes them like 3 feet from the top, and then they've got to like put their elbow over it and just really try and get up.
Yeah.
So like I was saying anyway, sorry I had to go off. I just don't understand what these people are building half the time. Hana says, yeah, we've been tracing and retracing our steps for like the last 44 hours and we cannot find a hole. We don't know how these people got here. Armin, in what must have been his biggest no-duh dipshit moment thus far, says, but we know Titans are on this side of the wall.
He's using that big brain, dude.
Thanks, Armin. Aaron goes on to ask what we are all wondering, which is if Hannes was drunk during his search. Like, Aaron's just picturing Hannes like almost falling off his horse, just like riding by like 7 holes in the wall, and he's just.
And that's his first question. That's the only question he asks. Are you sure you're not drunk?
To which Hannes replies, I don't drink.
So that definitely means he's drunk.
Hanji announces that the scouts will head back for Trost, and Hannes says that the garrison will ride out ahead of them. So he bids Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin adieu. And everyone else starts walking away as Aaron lags behind, trying to figure out what's going on when Reiner calls him over. This is all very nonchalant. Reiner and Bert have pretty much been just doing their own thing to the side over here, talking about building tree houses or whatever once they get back home. Reiner starts the conversation in the same way that I find myself starting talks by saying, and I quote, 5 years ago, we demolished the wall and began our attack on humanity. I find that's just a really good start. You know, people usually have something to come back with you. You know, if you're ever caught in an elevator, you know, you hit the 13th floor, you're like, oh, maybe they're just going to the 3rd floor. They hit a 14th floor, you know you're going to be on there for a while. I suggest just hitting them up with hey, 5 years ago, I demolished the wall and began our attack on humanity.
Yeah. Kind of a bad analogy because most places don't have the 13th floor because of old movies and the number 13, so they just skip over 13, but I know exactly what you mean.
I don't go to places that are bitches like that.
Whoa. Okay.
First thing I do, I walk in, I say, hey, do you have a 13th floor? If they say no, I'm like, all right, I'm out. And then I drive 2 hours down the road to the next hotel because it's the only hotel in town.
But yeah, he says this like you're at morning breakfast talk, striking up a conversation.
Yeah, just like, hey, what'd you do last night? It's just, hey, 5 years ago we broke down the walls and started our attack on humanity. And I love it. The show basically treats like it's no big deal as well because that's enough of that. Let's hop on over and see what Hanji's up to.
Okay.
She's worried about the possibility of a Titan digging beneath the walls, and we continue to listen and follow that conversation as subtitles come up. You can't even really hear it, but luckily we got the subtitles, and let's just say Reiner really did have something to talk about with Eren. He says, so I'm the Armored Titan, and my good friend Bert here, you know Bert, of course, he's the Colossal Titan. And Mikasa, who has an internal alarm that goes off anytime Eren is more than 5 feet away, realizes that Eren isn't behind her, so she turns around and is trying to see what's going on with him. Keep in mind all of what Reiner just said, and it's just now at this moment that Big Dick Bert steps in to ask Reiner, hey, why are you telling him this?
Yeah, it's like Reiner says it so nonchalantly that Bert's just like in his own world, like listening, and then all of a sudden it just hits him and he's like, wait a minute, are you really telling him this?
Yeah. It's like if I had murdered someone like 2 weeks ago and we were at like a party and you go, yeah, so Ronnie over here, actually 2 weeks ago, I would be like,
whoa, yeah.
Hey, what are you saying? And then you just be like, I'm just telling him where we went for lunch. And then I'd be like, oh, yeah, my bad. I thought I was thinking something different. Go for it. I'm not going to let you be like, yeah, Ronnie killed a guy. And then me go, dude, why are you telling him that? By the way, I should also mention that Bert looks very scared, but come on, everyone already knew that. Reiner goes on to say that, yeah, so basically our goal was to exterminate humanity, but hey, don't worry, buddy, that is no longer necessary. Because listen, if Eren just goes with them, they'll leave the walls alone. Eren says he doesn't understand, and by God, for once, I'm with him.
Oh, I'm so with him right here.
Reiner basically says, don't worry about it, and Bert looks like he just messed his britches. And that takes us to the calling card, which is the lifts. And, this wasn't on the slide, but I'll tell you one thing about them. They don't use them for people, because they're used to carry objects and materials over the wall, but not for people, because like I said earlier, people come up on like slings and then have to muscle their way up the side of the wall, even though I presume these lifts just take you right up to the wall. Yeah, they are easily transported and assembled and are built in such a way to facilitate emergency and tactical employment that is, unless you need to use them for, I don't know, people. Their weight is minimized for this purpose, but they are still heavy-duty enough to use for horses, but for some reason they still don't use them on people. Alright, that's that.
People have ODM gear, Ronnie. I mean, you're a bitch if you use the lift and not your ODM gear.
Oh, well, they've got ODM gear unless there's a Titan attack that's coming for them and you just don't have time enough to put them on. Or if you're like the 7 people that had to go up the wall this go-round and had to muscle their way up there.
Oh, yeah, let's mention that, though. I'm glad you brought up that point.
Hopefully they all performed very well in their physical fitness test in middle school, because if they weren't doing the hang bar for a good 30 seconds,
test?
They weren't getting it done.
Or if they weren't stretching out their arms with the, you know what I'm talking about? The leg, you put your legs out in front and you have to push the blocks.
I was always very good at that one.
Well, congrats. It's probably because you're 4'8". But going back to what you said about the people not having ODM gear, Reiner and Bert still do not have any gear on whatsoever. Neither is Ymir or Krista, obviously, and Connie as well. So Aaron and everyone has gear, but the guy that just said he started his attack on humanity 5 years ago does not have any gear on.
Aaron asks Reiner where he plans to take him, and Reiner says it's someplace that is basically like their hometown. Okay.
So they had a hometown, now it's basically like their hometown. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. He goes, fine, it's our hometown. Lay off, detective. You got it out of me. Reiner goes on to say, what do you think? Not a bad deal, eh? and then Armin got me to laugh because he yells at them and says, hey guys, we're leaving.
He's saying this to the most stubborn guy in the entire show.
I know. And flashback now to 12 hours earlier in Ermik. Is that how you say this? Ermik district?
Oh yeah, that's exactly how you say it.
Hanji has the files that contained information on Annie's background. And she says, finally, we've got them. As if the records department was real backed up pulling files or something.
I know, and this brings back to, I think, a couple episodes ago when Sasha, ran in with that scroll or whatever.
You know,
and I thought it was just, a random scene, but Sasha actually had a purpose.
So, yeah. Hanji's we would have had these files earlier, but Bridget took a long lunch again, so just no one to dig these up for us.
Wasn't taking any phone calls that day.
She goes on to reveal that 2 other cadets originated from the same region she claimed to come from. Their names are Rainer Braun and Bertolt Hoover.
Bertoldo!
LOL, Hoover.
I know.
Dork.
What is he, a president in the 1930s?
Further records revealed that during the 57th Exterior Scouting Mission, both Reiner and Bert were told false information about Aaron's location, and that they had details claiming that Aaron was in the right flank, when remember in reality he was positioned in the center rear of the formation. And Armin, he realized that the female Titan, aka Annie, attacked from the right flank, suggesting that one of the two may have passed their information on to her. Dun dun dun!
It's very detail-oriented, because we do remember the right flank getting absolutely wrecked back then.
That's cool that they have that in their files, something that in deep. In a shocking turn of events, this really pisses Aaron off because he doesn't like Armin saying this kind of stuff about his fellow classmates. Hanji asks Aaron for further information about how the two acted during training, and Aaron says, wow, listen, where to even begin? There was that one time they told Armin and I that they were from the same hometown and the Titans came, and how they just couldn't wait to get back. And then there was also that time when, oh wait, no, I guess that's the one thing, it's just about that hometown. That's the only thing I remember. Armin steps in though and claims that the two did not speak with Annie much. And Sasha says that Annie often ate alone, which I'm calling BS that Sasha ever noticed anything in the lunchroom other than food, because that is her character. She goes on, though, to say that she did hear that Annie had a secret craving for sweets. Thanks, we're going to use that information. Just
very useful, Sasha.
Great.
Well, what did Mikasa have to say about this?
Well, she says she doesn't really remember anything, which makes sense because if you haven't noticed by now, she seems to really only care about Aaron.
What?
Yeah, she just said nothing. They go, hey, Mikasa, what do you remember? She said, nothing.
Is this about Aaron? They're like, no. She's like, oh, nothing.
Let's just take a second to really think about what these people knew about their fellow cadet members that they've known for years.
4 years now, yeah.
Let's sum it all up. We've got hometown, didn't talk to each other much, alone in the lunchroom, and one of them likes sweets. That's what we came up with. Good work, guys.
Hanji's like, is that all you guys have on them?
Really good work. And Aaron he's just mad. He can't believe what we were talking about here. He says, though that Bert guy is pretty weird and quiet, Reiner acted as a big brother for the other cadets. Which you agree with, Chaz, because you've mentioned that multiple times.
Yeah, it's like he's always... You can tell he's a little bit older than him. You know, he's always looking out for him.
Yep.
Seems like a good guy.
Armin says he can't believe it either, as he recalls Reiner's courage in facing the female Titan until beep 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 boop boop beep 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 boop beep boop boop. He realized that Annie only changed its direction in the search for Eren after Reiner escaped from her grip. Hanji asked if Reiner seemed overly interested in where Eren was, to which Armin says, "You know, now that you mention it, it was pretty weird when we were running/fighting for our lives and Reiner kept screaming, 'Where the hell is Eren?'" He's not stopping there, though. He continues, beep, boop, boop, beep, 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 boop, and realized that while in the female Titan's grip, Reiner must have carved Eren's true location into Annie's hand because he remembers Annie staring at her palm once Reiner escaped.
This is where I question my own intelligence. After it shows all of these scenes, I can remember every single one, and I not once ever thought.
It's really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole Reiner and Bert thing, like I said, we'll really get into it here in a second, but it's super well done. Meanwhile, snore noise. I don't even think I've mentioned it at this point. Levi's here, and he's just sleeping in the corner. He couldn't care less about any of this. He's so sick of this entire new group we brought in.
Yeah.
These are the biggest... they just get smaller and dumber every year. By the way, pet peeve... It's couldn't care less, not
that's a
could care
big
less.
pet peeve of mine, yeah.
This has got to be the most wrongly used saying ever. People,
Yep.
I would say 90% of people say, I could care less. If you could care less, it doesn't mean as much. If you couldn't care less, you literally couldn't care less.
Oh, you could care less? Oh, so you do care.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How about that, buddy? Say it right.
I'm just super
buddy.
passionate about it. Usually when I hear it in real life, I'm not the type of guy to call people out. But this is my platform, and I'm trying to make a difference. So, fix it, people.
Hey, say it right.
Fix it. All right, going on. Eren still can't let go of all the good times, even though he already got burnt once with this whole faithful to the team thing with Annie. He literally did the same exact thing 4 episodes ago.
Yeah. What is up with Eren, dude? He's so determined, but as soon as just one of his buddies, he finds out that they're not as good as he thinks they are. He's like, wait, no, they're actually really good. They were nice to me.
Yeah, there's never been anyone more loyal to his teammates and know so little about his teammates.
Yeah.
Hanji commands Eren to take a chill pill. She doesn't exactly say that, but we all know what she means. Yeah. And then tells all of the scouts present that for everyone to act as if they weren't suspicious at all of Reiner and Bert until the two could be confronted underground.
But that also goes back to Eren is just way too emotional.
Yeah.
Every decision he's ever made has just been purely emotional thinking.
Right. And I love that, Erwin's really on the sideline right now. And Hanji's showing why she's such a trusted person. As if anything, no one has even speculated that they're Titans at this point. But she knows we need to confront them underground because there's a good chance that they are Titans and they just haven't revealed it.
And they also have no idea that even if they are Titans, that they would actually be the Armored and the Colossal.
Right. So,
But Hanji, though, she's opposite of Eren right now. She's thinking purely off logic, calm, and even earlier
even more so than Armin at this point.
Yeah, even earlier too with Krista saying that, well, Ymir, with all the knowledge she has, maybe she can help us, instead of being like, wow, she hid that from us. Let's let her die. So
let's take a second. Remember, she says, don't act suspicious until we get the two confronted underground. Yep. So, if that's the case, why the hell, 12 hours later, are the two of them on top of a wall?
That's as high as you can get him.
Back on Walrose, Aaron still doesn't believe what Reiner is telling him, claiming that, Reiner, you're just tired, buddy. To which Bert says, yeah, Reiner, you're just really tired, man. Just
he's super tired.
So tired.
He didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
Aaron goes on to point out the absurdity of what Reiner is asking for Aaron, or from Aaron. I mean, to come with him because what? What was Aaron really going to say? Oh yeah, I'll go with you. That's just not Aaron.
You got a horse? Let me hop on one.
It's at that point, I've never wished more that we were on video so everyone could see me reenacting the face Reiner gives at this point. He cannot believe what he's hearing.
This guy looks like he doesn't know where he's at right now. His mind is just so messed up.
Just something's not connecting. No. I'm worried about the guy. Then he just changes. Then he just starts smiling. He finally agrees with Aaron, wondering aloud if he really has gone crazy. Aaron basically says, well, that's great. Just come on, buddy. Old pal, let's begin to walk away when the wind all of a sudden picks up, making everything 3 times more scary.
Yeah.
Just really spooky.
Just the silence of the wind. Ugh.
The other scouts stop, and you can now tell that all of them have been suspicious and ready to act pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
Which I thought they did a really good job of hiding, because I didn't really pick up on that. Especially, by the way, Mikasa, who keeps a hand on her blade ready to strike.
And we never see her really nervous, but her hands are shaking right now.
Reiner says he regrets the past 3 years he has spent, quote, surrounded by idiots, claiming that him and the others were just clueless children. If he had not heard of the others within the walls, he claims he would not have become a half-assed piece of shit. Whoa.
Yeah, and his face right now, he's going back to that crazy-looking face.
Yeah, I thought we were making progress, and then all of a sudden we took a deep dive off. He continues to go insane by removing the sling around his arm, exposing his wound, and says and then he begins to just use his Titan powers to heal himself because it starts steaming. He says that he will face the consequences of his actions and stay true as a warrior.
And this goes back to Bert saying that warrior line 2 episodes ago.
You're never going to guess what Bert does at this point.
What does he do?
He panics. He asks Reiner if they're really acting now, to which Reiner says, yep, let's take care of this thing once and for all, as he lunges for Aaron. But Mikasa, she's not letting that happen. She's there in a flash, cutting into Reiner's arms and slicing Bert's neck open.
Oh, dude, that scene.
Oof.
Slit his throat.
I've always thought, a slice to the neck, that would have to be one of the worst ways to go, where what would that be like? You're just losing. The
sounds he's making of him choking on his own. Yeah.
Anytime you see that in a show, I'm like, man, that's got to be one of the worst ways to go. Mm. She tells Aaron to run as she goes for a killing blow at Bert, but Reiner shoves her from the wall while Aaron watches in shock. He's doing a lot of work.
Aaron can't even move right now.
And it's at that point where if you were like me and kept thinking this is all a joke, you are proven to be wrong, because energy starts building around the two boys as the music gets super intense. Wind is blowing everywhere. Energy strikes the wall as the Armored Titan and Colossal Titan appear. Whew.
And we got one of my favorite parts of it. Well, obviously the OST. I mean, let's talk about the OST.
Go for it.
How beautiful of a soundtrack that we got going in the background. You See Big Girl by Sawano. I mean, we all know what the track is.
Everyone knows the name. Just lay it on them. Good old You See Big Girl.
I love the title of it. Don't know what he's going for there, but
I know it's You See Big Girl.
But we got Bert he's having like his rib cage attached to the wall.
Yeah.
He's pulling one of those the Aaron skeleton moment where he like half transforms. I guess because he's so big, he didn't want to fully transform on the wall.
Yeah, you think he's got a handle on it or whatever? You think even he's like, it's kind of like Aaron in the sense, because his face is different too. I think it might be like he was caught off guard by Reiner. He's not thinking clearly, and he only like transforms like halfway through.
I don't know, or maybe he did that because he didn't want to, transform into the giant, colossal titan that's even taller than the wall, and maybe kill Reiner on accident or hit off Aaron. Like I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah. But the armored titan, he takes Aaron in his hand while the colossal titan grabs Ymir as Historia cries out, "Can we help her now, Historia?" The armored titan starts sliding down the wall with Aaron as he tearfully thinks back to all the good memories they had, like that one time they stood on that cliff and Reiner told them that he and Bert would return to their hometown. Aaron just can't believe what's going on. Oh, or that time where they were all up in the upstairs lounge area and Reiner told them that they would return to their hometown. Gosh, it's just hard to... Jeez. Finally accepting that his two friends are a bunch of traitors, Aaron does the one thing he really knows how to do, and that's bite himself.
Oh, yeah. Takes a good old chomp.
And luckily this time, boy oh boy, does he have a clear goal in mind, because he transforms into his titan and prepares to battle.
Just throws a punch right at the screen. I got caught off guard. I thought it was gonna hit me.
End of episode.
Dude, so I was lucky enough to be able to watch this and see your first reaction from it. The first time you ever saw it, dude. How thrown off were you? Did you have any clue?
No, I wasn't ready for it. At first, I'm not even sure I really liked it, because I don't know. I just felt like it might have been kind of cheap, like they didn't play it with me straight. But no, I mean, the more you start thinking about it, like as soon as the Armored Titan changes again and you see him again, because we haven't seen him since what, like season 1,
3
episode
of
it was a little later than that, right? Because they break in a second time.
Episode 5 or 6.
Yeah, 5 or 6, something like that. And Reiner, he looks like the Armored Titan.
Yeah. He's got like the same hair.
Yeah.
And I think back to that too, and I'm like, wow, he does look, very similar.
Right. And then as far as, we gotta take a second and laugh out loud at the fact that Bert is the colossal titan.
Bertoldo Hoover is the damn colossal titan.
The colossal titan, where after you watch the first episode, you're like, wow, they just straight up, right out the gates, showed us the biggest bad there is. Like, it doesn't get worse than that guy. He's huge. He's obviously the leader, and it's Bert Hoover.
I think one of my favorite parts too. We watched a couple episodes. This has been a few weeks now. You were just dogging on boy Bert before you knew that he was Colossal Titan, just talking about how, look at this guy, like look how shy he is. He's just sitting in the corner. And then,
because we had the episode where they're all in the castle and Bert's just like in the background of every scene, not saying anything, and I was just ripping him, and you obviously knew it was to come, and you were getting a good...
I had to play it perfect. I couldn't say anything back, but it is hilarious thinking about it, because as soon as you find out that the Colossal and Armored Titan could be Titan shifters, you're thinking, oh, whoever turns into the Colossal Titan, that guy in human form, he must be just a badass, a fighter, something like that. And then it's just scared old Bert. Yeah, and now let's take a second and look back, because once you rewatch, you see all the way... I would be very impressed if someone claimed they were like, yeah, I called that. Maybe if you were a person who was on the show from the beginning, and in the mangas, manga readers let us know how this played out in writing, what kind of hints there were. I'd be very interested in that. I would also love to know, if you're a manga reader, how this moment played out. Like if it was this nonchalant in the manga, or how they wrote it out. Because to me, the only way you're getting this, if you were like a day one watcher and you watched season 1, you had to wait for season 2 to come out, and you rewatch season 1 a couple times, because what's cool is you do get why they don't exactly talk to each other.
there's a lot of crucial points where shit's going down, and Reiner, Bert, and Annie are all just standing together.
Yep, not doing anything, just standing there. And that was during like the Trost moments,
right?
But yeah, I could see maybe someone really figuring out Reiner after the female Titan scene and all that. But Bertolt, there's no way anybody would have guessed he was Colossal Titan. No way.
Yeah, because even like you said with the female Titan scene, when Reiner comes out of that, you're kind of like, okay, wait, how that like. Because you kind of explain it away with, he had a sword and he like cut her hand open, but it was still just a little bit clunky. I thought it might have been an animation thing. Mm-hmm. Like they just made him look like he was in way worse trouble than he actually was and got out. But it all makes sense now.
Yep. And too, when so him, Jean, and Armin, when they're all riding off on horses together.
Yeah.
It was right after the right flank got attacked. This is what I caught in our rewatch doing this podcast. John says that his was like in the left rank. Armin says, he's in the center rear or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Reiner does say, my intel said he was in the right flank. And he tells them that right after the right flank got attacked.
Yeah. Well, then even more importantly, that episode literally ends with Reiner escapes and she's still there, and then all of a sudden she just starts sprinting in the opposite direction.
Yep. And even Armin, I don't know if you remember this either. That was after he hit his head, kinda, and he looked like he wasn't all there. When Reiner's carrying him off, he's thinking it pans on Armin, and he's thinking, "Wait, she just stopped, and now she's running towards Eren. What's happening?"
And I think he's just so caught up with the fact that he knows that she's going to Eren at that point. He's not even thinking about how she would have figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really cool. Let us know, like I said, if you're a manga reader, if you're just a show watcher, let us know, like, if you had any clue or anything like that, because I thought it was awesome. The only other thing I want to talk about, did you like how they flashed back and showed that they were pretty much on to Reiner and Bert, or would you have preferred they played it straight up?
I liked the fact that they did that. The reason I liked it is because it made the reveal that much more just like, holy shit. Like when he says 5 years ago, like if I would have already known that they were on to him and then he came out and said it, it wouldn't have been like a punch to the face like it was then.
So I'm saying, I agree with you there. I'm saying, what if they just never knew? They're all up on top of the wall and Reiner just starts talking crazy like this and none of them have any clue.
That would have been really cool, too.
To me, I almost would have preferred that. This is just from like a writing standpoint or whatever. Or they could even have done it this way, but I almost think it takes something away from the reveal when they showed in the flashback this exact same episode. Maybe it came like next episode. That would have been better, I thought.
Yeah.
Just because once... like, everyone's playing so coy. And like I said, they did a good job of making it seem like no one knew. But once you see, like, they all knew anyway, and they're kind of ready for this, that...
Well, it's pretty cool, too, because they all definitely had their suspicions, and they're like, we gotta watch out for them. But none of them, I don't think, even thought... They were like, they could be Titans, but I don't think any of them thought, that's the Colossal and the Armor Titan.
Right. And I agree with that. But even with that being said... to me, it makes the entire team look a little bit dumb. Like, they didn't have any better plans for if these guys went, like, she said they were going to have them underground, and even if plans changed because of the whole castle ordeal, like, you didn't have some way of, like, people keeping track of them and ready to, like, it was just like, Mikasa protecting Eren. That was the only...
Yeah, the best thing they had was them just not having ODM gear.
Yeah.
But then you think about it, too, and it's like, if... Annie obviously knew how to use the female Titan like super well, destroyed so many people. They're probably thinking too, if we act even like a little suspicious towards them and they realize it, they'll just go Titan mode, kill us, and run off. So I guess there's like, to actually find the right solution for it, I don't really know what they would have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a tough call there.
So that's another one. I would like to know how it goes down in the mangas. This is one we can have some good conversations going on. So send us some emails. Let's get the conversation going.
Hey, talk about the OST as well. That's a top 3 OST for me right there.
And Yeah, I'll forward all OST talk to Chaz so he can just really dive into the nuances of the OSTs. I think we're going to skip everyone's favorite or least favorite segment today because we've just done our longest episode. We knew this was coming. As we get deeper into it and these episodes get more intricate, these podcasts are going to get longer, Chaz. And I think we go ahead and cut this one off here.
Raina and Bertoldo.
thepodcastchronicles@gmail.com. We'll talk with you next episode. Thanks for listening.
Shinzo wo Sasageo.
Peace.